always great to talk to the All-American. I mean, he's turned into a podcast star. This guy, we thought he was going to disappear after the horrific injury back in April of last year. I mean, he's more omnipresent than ever. He's all over the place, getting bigger guests than we are on this show. Christian McCaffrey, Kevin James, are you kidding me? Here he is, Chris Weidman, joining. Look at that. In the professional setup, too. Wow, we've come a long way, Chris. Look at you.
What's going on, Ariel? How we doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. Did you see the new Kevin James movie as he plays Sean Payton? Did you see that?
Yeah. I thought it was awesome. Kid-friendly, motivating, inspiring. I thought it was a great movie. Kind of like one of the movies that we kind of grew up, watching, that we want our kids to have. You don't really see them as much these days. These like warming of the heart movies. I feel like it was
nice.
Right up there. I loved it. Yeah.
I didn't even know that story, that Sean Payton did that. When he got suspended and he went to coach his kids team. I had no idea.
He must have had a good PR team. I didn't really focus on any of that stuff. So that was really cool to see what he, how he turned that around for himself.
I know your kids like sports as well. I just showed my middle son Rudy for the first time. I don't know if you've done that. Have you done that?
Oh yeah.
You've showed them Rudy?
Yeah.
God, I love that.
Absolutely.
Yo, first 15 seconds, I'm crying in that movie. Like when they're playing in the snow. I cry so. How many times you cry? I cry at least 15 times in that movie. It's like crazy. Just kills me, that movie.
It's so hard. Yeah, when you have a strong family unit and you watch that movie, you have brothers. There's just so much, you relate so much. And the underdog, the smaller guy, doesn't have
the music
really much to live with. Yeah, as far as gifts, but it was cool.
So look at you. You've got the whole setup.
I have my kids watch like almost all the movies that I grew up watching, but it is crazy how many of those movies that I thought were just so wholesome are like, there is some really bad parts. I'm like, I can't believe it. I never noticed.
Like what?
Man, there's just like sexual content and like different language that is used that I didn't really pay attention to as a kid. I can't think of an example right now, but it's almost like every one of them. And I'm like, man, this is weird because I didn't notice this. It's just funny how that works.
By the way, is this a professional camera that you have? Like, this isn't like your webcam, right?
No, this is a webcam. I'm just,
You're great.
I got one of those Olights or whatever.
Your whole setup is so professional. Gosh.
Oh, thank you, man. Thanks to Troy Farkas.
Yes.
Our boy.
TST.
He makes sure that I look all right every day.
How'd you meet Troy, by the way?
All through you.
Oh,
man.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Don't mention
Without you, won't back down. My podcast would even be going down. Yeah. No, listen, you do so much for so many. You're such an amazing human being, and you don't get enough credit.
Well, thank you.
I want to thank you.
The podcast is great. I love the conversations. I've told you, you're a great interviewer because it doesn't feel like an interview. It's very conversational. But you got to admit, booking the guests, worst, right?
Yeah. And I have Anthony Smith on today. He's so bad with text messages. And I try to remind myself because I'm that athlete and I'm the worst with getting back to people. You know, so when people want to interview me, I am literally the worst because you get done with training, you're busy, you're running around with the kids and they're asking you to lock down a certain time for next week. I'm like, bro, I can't focus on next week. Like, so I'm just like, you write back something quick, and then all of a sudden they're on you, remind you, and I'm like, crap, I said I was going to do that.
Oh, no.
And so I feel their pain, but I'm also like, come on, man, I'm different. You have to have a little bit more respect for me. Come on.
I remember, there's a few of them that I remember chasing. You're actually at the top of the list. When you beat Kelvin Gastelum on Long Island, I remember you didn't get back to me until super late Sunday. And there's a part of me that's like, I'm bothering you. I understand you're reveling. It's a big deal. You're celebrating. It was a comeback win for you. It was at home. I mean, there was so much emotion. But I also want to get you on the show somewhat selfishly. Yeah. And I remember I was like, mother effing Chris, why can't he reply to me? All I need is a yes. All I need is a confirmation.
Because it's commitment. I don't know how my wife got me. She got me early, but I can't commit to anything. I'm so bad with that. That's really hard. And scheduling out is hard for me. So I just try to remind myself, with these guys when I'm trying to do it, it really is, it is tough for everybody to commit to things, and I get it. But yeah, that's really the biggest pain in the butt of having a podcast is booking the guests.
So are you fully
But hang
back?
on, I just want to say, like,
Yeah.
when I wasn't responding to you, I do love you.
No, I know.
And it's not because I'm, big time in you. It's just like, these fighters are all over the place.
I know.
Attention spans aren't the
Plus,
strongest.
how many texts are you getting after a win like that? You're probably your thing is probably flooded, right, with messages.
Yeah.
So I gotta trust me. It's my least favorite part of this job. It's like I watch the fights through the lens of who can I get on the show. You know what I mean? I can't. It's just the worst.
But you also have used that to create relationships with the guys and trust. So as much of a pain in the ass it is to actually text these guys and try to stay on top of them and not bother them, but also like get them on the show. It has created like a relationship because you got to jump on the phone sometimes. With
Sure.
So I think that's why another reason why you're so well respected. It's not like I'm getting reached out by Ariel Helwani's producer.
No.
It's Ariel Helwani himself, and it creates a respect. So
actually,
it's a pain in the ass, but it's worth it.
100%. There was like a 2-year stretch there with ESPN where like they were trying to limit the interviews, and I feel like there's like a crop of fighters who like I don't know. I don't have that like with you, right? Like I remember your debut, and then I follow you throughout, and the same with even Connor or Izzy and stuff. And there's a crew of guys that I didn't contact for the last 2 years that I almost feel like I'm jumping on their bandwagon because I wasn't getting them early. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. This is the way my brain works. I'm a crazy person. Anyway, enough about all of this.
But it's funny because like as fighters, you have a manager and that kind of separates you from the other people. And there's like, allows you to focus on what you really need to focus on. And having a podcast for you, me, like, there is something to be said with having an in-between person between you and the talent. But I do think it kind of ruptures relationships.
Yeah.
It takes away that asset.
So are we 100% back? Like, are there any restrictions or are you just like fully?
I am cleared. So
wow.
I am completely cleared. My bones are like pretty much 100% healed. They're not 100% healed, but they're almost there. He's not worried about me breaking my bones, by kicking or anything like that at this point. It's just about getting the muscles and the tendons and, the ligaments to be, strong and get used to that, taking that weight and that explosive push-offs the way it used to. So getting my calf stronger and my quad stronger is really the number one focus right now. And that is tough. It's like, I mean, I've had, tons of surgeries and I've had, times where I've had, atrophy because of surgery. This is a whole different ball game, I think, because, the muscles went through the calf and everything. So the calf, and, scar tissue in there and just not being able to put a lot of weight on that leg. So the quad starts weakening, and then just the fact that they had to put the rod through the middle of my knee, just crushes the inside of your knee too. So they take the rod and they basically hammer it through the top of your knee joint, through the middle of the joint, into the tibia bone, into the center of the tibia bone, all the way down to the ankle. And when they do that, it's like, it's a tibia surgery, to correct the fracture, but it's also the rod's going through your knee joint, so that's a pain in the ass too, so you have a lot of, there's a lot of moving parts.
Damn. So. What about like just like if you want to go for a run?
No, running was dumb. I was done with running for the last like 10 years, really. Other than
what do you mean done with running?
Sprints. I don't run. I don't ever run.
Really?
I've had 10 knee surgeries. There's no reason for me to run. I could find plenty of other ways to not put pounding in my joints, in my knees.
Wow.
So I just stay away from that. I don't have a lot of cartilage left. In my knees. And if I was to do pounding exercises, like running on, pavement and stuff, it's not worth it. I could do bike riding. I could do, elliptical, swimming, and then sprint work is fine. But like and really my cardio comes from sparring and kickboxing, wrestling and all that stuff. So if I want to lose weight, the running would come in, in handy. But I could do those other things too, instead. So
do you spar?
I don't run. What's that?
Have you sparred?
I've been sparring probably like 2 or 3 times a week. I have this up and comer, undefeated professional up and comer. My little protege, Tom Lane, 185er, was All-American at Cal Poly University from Long Island. Ended up moving out to North Carolina, like 20 minutes from me.
Wow!
And he's getting ready for his second professional fight. And so he's getting ready. I'm helping him get ready. And with that, like he comes over to my garage and we basically, hit pads for a little bit, drill a little bit. And the next thing you know, we spar a whole bunch and then get on the mat. We do jiu-jitsu and do wall wrestling and do the whole thing. And at first with my injury, it was like, I'm going to drill. I'm going to be more of a coach and help you out. And the next thing I know, I'm like, I think I could do that. And then now it's like, I'm all out. My leg is just not where it needs to be yet for me to feel comfortable, like booking a fight. As far as, going southpaw, letting someone kick my leg at this point, I'm not 100% confident in that yet. Just really moving the way I'd like to, just because the strength isn't there. There's too much pressure on the joints. And when I go to push off, it's a little painful still in the lower leg and the knee a little bit. So as it's progressing, it's getting better and better as like the strength is developing. So I'm going to be good to go. Yeah.
What's realistic?
I honestly feel great, man. And I feel like I'm not coming back, just to get a fight and show people that, you could come back from tough things. It's more, I really do think I'm, in a very selective group of top guys in the world in this division. And I think I could beat any of those guys any night. And I haven't slowed down somehow. Like I'm in there with some really good guys in the gym. And if I started seeing that, I don't have what it used to be, and I don't see myself progressing and getting better and better every day, man, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing this, for the glory. I'm doing this because I love to train. I love to do this. I love to compete against the best guys in the world, and I know I could do it, and I could shock the world again. I've had my losses, and that's definitely something that is in the fans' minds, and they can't understand why I would want to come back because I've already had the championship, and I've had my awesome wins, and I've had my bad losses, but I'm still in a really good spot, and I can't wait to make a splash when I come back. I'm really pumped. I know I just jumped into that because
it's great. It's freaking making me all emotional inside, and I want to run through a wall myself. What's realistic though? This summer is realistic?
Yeah, this summer is realistic. I was thinking like before June, but I think I'm going to need a little bit more time than that, to be honest. I think I need a couple. I think within the next month, the strength of my legs comes back to where I could really like push off of it the way I want to, and I'm comfortable like in sparring. And then I'd like to get it like in an 8-week almost mock training camp to see how I feel and really push the body. Like I said, I've been training really hard, but I want to like bring my weight down the right way and like just get my body accustomed to like a real training camp and see how my leg reacts and learn how to deal with it and work around it. And then from that point, set up a fight after that mock training camp, and then, get into a real camp. That's the goal. So that looks probably like a July would be what I'm probably looking at realistically if everything goes the way I'd like to. And yeah.
Have you allowed yourself to even think of like what the perfect scenario would be? Would it be like Uriah Hall? Would that be the perfect scenario? Have you even allowed yourself to go there?
I have no idea, man. It's just, how the landscape of the division changes so much over time. And by then, like, who is going to be the exciting fight for me? I don't really know. I don't know.
Would you like Uriah at some point?
I don't really want to even say names.
No, I get it.
It's not even worth it. I don't want to. It's like and I hate even talking, confidently about me in the division at this point, because at this point I'm a keyboard warrior. Until I have a leg to stand on. The pun intended. Like I feel awkward. Like,
I get it.
I'm coming back and I'm going to dominate, and I'm calling out these different people because at this point it's not happening. I got shit I got to take care of on my own.
But is Uriah a thing? Like, is that a thing that you would want to do before you're done? Like, do you even care about that? Is there any symbolism involved in that or no?
Yeah. I promise I won't kick him. If we have some type of like handshake deal, like, all right, there's no kicks. You could kick up. You kick above the waist only.
Yeah.
It's kind of like karate. He started with karate. Let's do a karate, but we have to add in wrestling. We got to have grappling involved. Let's do that. Not that I'm scared of getting kicked in my leg, by the way. At this point, I'm not scared, but I think that'd be a cool little way to spice it up.
Do you think a lot about, for example, you were just mentioning, mentoring this young fighter. What's his name again? Sorry.
Tom Lane. Tom, the freight train Lane. Remember the name?
I love that.
Combat, February 18th. It's my daughter's birthday, so I'm not going to be going to Ring of Combat. So
I don't blame you.
he's in my alma mater where I started
Yeah.
my professional debut and had my fights heading into the UFC. I think it's the best local promotion you can have. Louis Neglia, Ray
Yep.
Longo, they promote it. They're awesome people. And you get really tough fights there. You know, it's not just, a build up type thing. You fight good guys. And there's a reason why they have more than any other promotion where guys have gone from there and then went into the UFC.
So the reason I bring that up is like now you're in that mentor role and you've been helping out guys for a while, but you're seriously like looking after someone and others. Your friend John Vellante retired. Like we're reaching the point where, you and I, we're getting old. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about becoming the mentor? No longer the young buck, no longer the upstart, no longer the fresh face. We all remember Louisville, Kentucky and all that stuff. Like now, I'm approaching 40. I'm getting all reflective about my life and what I've done and what's to come. How do you deal with this?
Do you remember the Edge team that they came out with the UFC, the Edge shaving gel?
Oh yeah.
The prospects of the UFC, the up and coming stars. I was like the face of that thing.
Oh,
I don't remember who else. What the hell happened? I was prospect of the year too, or I was fighter of the year. 2013, I think, but I was the
like breakout fighter.
Is it breakthrough fighter of the
year?
Yeah, breakthrough fighter of the year, breakthrough fighter of the year before that. Bro, it's weird. I've been in the UFC since 2011.
Crazy.
I always was thought of myself as like the young guy, and I'm still very open minded. I don't think I know anything like that, and I think it's a good thing, and it's also a bad thing. Sometimes I got to be like, bro, I'm the freaking man. And other time, but it's also good to know. But it's also good that I'm constantly learning. I've never stopped learning because I'm very open minded. I always kind of think somebody knows more, and so I'm open to learning. And I try to teach my kids that because these kids, I try to teach them something they think they already know. I'm like, listen, that's the worst attribute to have. Please, you don't know everything. Just shut your mouth and listen and learn. And so that's like one of my biggest battles with my kids, because I think that's such an important thing for them to have, is just being open-minded and having that eagerness to learn. But what are you saying? Yeah, it is weird to be the older guy, 37. It's weird, man. I envision other fighters, watching them in the UFC over the years, and watching their name come up on the screen as they're being introduced and saying 37. And being and having my thoughts and and so it is weird now. That's me.
Yes, it is a wild thing. Do you if there's one fight that you can go back to, that you can do over? Now it could be a great one, or it could be one that kind of nags at you. Which would it be?
So I think what really caused my issues in my fight career, where I started having losses, is because my Vitor Belfort fight, actually.
Really?
So my Vitor Belfort fight, when I fought him, I started, and remind me, I want to talk about this when we talk about Adesanya and Whittaker fight, because I'm sure we're going to be talking about that. But like, it's hard to be honest with yourself when you're the champion, and because you just want everybody to think you want everybody to know you're the best in the world. And anybody who's trying to take that away from you, you're gonna you want to argue that. And at that point in my career, I was the man. I was undefeated world champion. I beat Anderson Silva twice, and then I beat Lyoto Machida. I felt like my goals have kind of I already accomplished everything I wanted to do at that point, and I shut a lot of people up. But there was still this bickering. But I just felt like complacent. I was having fun, going out to nice dinners. I was hanging out with my friends, and just enjoying that champ life at that point. I wasn't doing it for my Anderson Silva fights, and I wasn't doing it for the Machida fight because I really still had something to prove. But going against Vitor, I let my guard down, and I started training less, not more. I was worried about getting injured because there was a lot of a lot of talk about me being injury prone, and look, here I am, injury prone, and pulling out of fights. And so I tried to do less, not more. And that was against everything I always did and everything that made me become a champion, because I always pushed harder than everybody, and I was always willing to do more than everybody. And for the first time in my career, I did less. And I started for that camp, I did a 6-week training camp, which was way less than I usually did. And I just, let my coaches know, I think this is the best thing for my body, blah, blah, blah. Can't get injured again. So I started 6 weeks out, and that gives you 5 weeks of training. I come in really out of shape. Go through the training camp. You think you're in good shape. I'm just, whatever. I'm training hard when I'm there, but I'm not there as much. I'm doing less, one training session a day as opposed to 2 or 3. And I won, so I had a positive reinforcement on not really working the way I really should. And that led into my demise, really, when it comes to my reign as a world champion, because I got into that, not to take anything away from Luke Rockhold, but when I started that training camp, I started, again, 6 weeks out, came in fat, and the first week I break my foot on Volante's elbow. I throw a crazy kick, break my foot, and I thought, all right, whatever, that takes 4 weeks to heal. I'll just keep pushing through. It never really healed. I remember it was my cuboid bone and there's like a very low supply of blood there. So it doesn't heal fast. You got to really stay off of it. And it was a nightmare of a camp. I couldn't really train the right way. I couldn't get my cardio to where I needed to. I wasn't confident going into that fight that I did the right thing and pushed myself to the level I need to. And I think it showed in that fight. Like I gassed out for sure, but I also didn't push myself the way I usually would push myself because I was scared of getting tired. And that was really the first time in my career that I was in that situation. And I think what happened, and I lose that fight, obviously, it was a freaking nightmare of a fight. And I did not want to lose to Luke Rockhold, but I also wasn't willing to put the work in to make sure to give me a higher percentage chance of not letting that happen. And then instead of like looking at what I did wrong and being honest with myself about how I was being lazier and doing less as opposed to more and doing what it kind of got me there. I would hear people kind of say it to me, but I was like, no, I'm good. Because I'm still dominating everybody in the room. Like I'm still doing my thing. But it caught up to me. And then instead of changing that, going to my Yoel Romero fight, it was the same thing. For that fight, I had a surgery right before, 4 weeks before that fight, I had a knee surgery. And I started the camp 2 weeks before that. So that was a freaking nightmare of a situation. But I thought Yoel Romero gets tired anyway. Who cares if I'm not in that good of a shape? But yeah. But anyway, so that's why I say the Vitor Belfort fight. I never even really expressed this out loud, but that is the fight that led me into a situation where I wasn't being honest with myself and able to reflect and like, hey, I gotta stop being a little biatch, and freaking start training the right way like I used to, and be the guy that I try to hold other people to. So yeah.
I appreciate that.
And with the Israel, and then I'm watching Israel Adesanya.
Yes, let's get into that. Yeah.
And he before I watched the Embedded, I'm picking Whittaker, because Whittaker has looked better in his last couple of fights. Adesanya has looked, okay, but not great. He hasn't seemed like he's been improving. And I saw that as a big problem. And I think Whittaker has this chip on his shoulder right now from the last fight when they fought, and he's been holding it in. He's super humble. He doesn't want. He's acts like this is just another fight, but he has a chip on his shoulder. The whole Australia thing, the things that were said after that Adesanya fight, the first time, he knows he didn't fight well in that first fight. He spazzed out of control for whatever reasons. Either he mentally imploded and it was just too much pressure, or his game plan was wrong, or I don't know. But either way, he didn't fight himself. But then I listened to Israel Adesanya, and right away, he was honest with himself. He straight up said, as a champion, this is hard to say because I've been there, to look back at the last year and say, honestly, this is probably my most lackluster year. You don't want to ever give credit to all those haters out there that are saying it. So as a champion, you constantly have your guard up, like, motherfucker, I beat the best guys in the world. I don't care. I went up in weight, like I went against a way stronger, guy. He caught me off guard. I could beat him tomorrow. Like that's like somehow like you have that self defense mechanism that's going to pop in as a champion. But what impressed me with Adesanya right now, which is a really good sign for him, is that he was honest without a doubt. This last year sucked for me, basically. I was lackluster. I wasn't spectacular. I wasn't, really opening up the way, I want to. I guess maybe his training wasn't the way he wanted to. But the fact that he's being honest with himself is a really good sign for him going into this fight.
Wait, so does that mean you've now changed your pick?
I love Whittaker. And I'm a fan of Adesanya too. I love watching him fight. I like.
You weren't always a believer in Izzy, though, right? Am I accurate in saying that?
I'm not listen, he's tough. He showed toughness in the Gastelum fight. He's got great stand-up. I love his stand-up. But as far as when I am and again, now I'm going to sound like a keyboard warrior, but I know I've been knocked out in fights. Okay. I know I lost to people, but I don't give a crap. I still think I could beat any one of those guys any day, you know? When I envision myself going as like an Adesanya, I could prove what I see. You know, I mean, there's levels to this shit. Blachowicz is not even a wrestler, and he, you know, took him down. He's strong, he's big. I get it, but I'm a whole different animal. So I could try to compare. I compare him to me, and I'm not a believer. Like, he's not getting through me. And I've seen, you know, the stardom. He's super impressive in, you know, in interviews, and he's exciting to watch. And I get it. But that aura about him doesn't affect a guy like me. So when I, you know, that's what I mean by that. So, but gotcha. I will say, I mean, he's been amazing. He's been amazing. Like style makes fights. Like, I could say about it. Anderson Silva, like Anderson Silva is unbelievable. Look, he's the GOAT of the middleweight division for sure. Maybe the greatest of all divisions. And, do I think he's unbeatable? No, like, I know how I could beat him. And my style loves those type of matchups and my mind just loves those type of matchups, guys who are super athletic, good on their feet, and, and got good cardio, could stay relaxed. And I know what kind of guy could beat him, and it's me. And so it's just hard for me to be like, you know, I know he's the man, you know, he's doing great, and I'm a fan of him. I let's see how I want the best guy to win. I want an awesome, exciting fight. And I think we're going to get an awesome, exciting fight, because both guys, to me, really have a big chip on their shoulder. And I think that's when you get the big fight. That's when you get those amazing wars, you know? So, yeah.
Can I ask?
I know I'm all over the place. Come on, bring me in, man.
No, this is great. This is great. Just one more question, and then I'm going to let you go. How do you think Whittaker can win this fight? Because it's easy to say, oh, just do what Jan did. But, like, I mean, as you know, it's not that easy. How does he win the fight, in your opinion?
I don't think he's, you know, taking him down, holding him down for, 5 rounds.
No.
I think he'd get him maybe 2 rounds with a takedown here or there, hold him down for a little bit. Adesanya gets back up to his feet. You know, he threatens a submission. I think Adesanya is good enough to get back up. I don't think Whittaker's a wrestler. I think Whittaker's the better wrestler, but I don't think he has the strength I don't think he has that type of strength to, like, wrestle him out, you know, for 5 rounds. But I do think he could win some rounds with the wrestling, and which also will get into Adesanya's head with the striking and limit what he's able to do on the feet. You know, it's going to make him a little bit more timid, which could open up Whittaker's stand-up. So I think he could win 1 or 2 rounds with some takedowns and then win around the stand-up. You could look at the Gastelum fight when they both fought him. I mean, I know Gastelum was at different points in his career and different confidence levels in both those fights. So you can't, it's kind of, I'm not doing a strict comparison and like it's 100% real, because it's not, two different Gastelums, 2 different opponents. But I would like, Whittaker looked so good in that fight. His stand-up, his relaxation was just unbelievable. You know, the way he was taking, he's seen Gastelum drop so many people with that left hand. And me included, by the way. And he was so relaxed, with parrying it and covering on it. He wasn't overreacting. He wasn't afraid of it. He was just so relaxed. And then the way he was able to bring in his kicks and his punches and just throw it all together was a beautiful sight to see.
Okay.
So yeah,
I'd be on the desk, Chris. What is going on here? I mean, I feel like
this is my desk.
Yeah, you know what? You don't need their desk. You got your own damn desk, doing great things.
Bro. Come on, you know how it is.
I know.
Can't hold me down. Can't tell me what to say.
Right.
I don't want rehearsals.
Won't back down.
I'm just kidding.
The podcast is Won't Back Down. He's had a ton of big names. Of course, Anderson Silva was the first guest, and that was tremendous. But you've had names recently like Kevin James, Christian McCaffrey of the Panthers, Steve Smith, also a great NFL legend as well. So always great to catch up with you, my friend. I'm happy that things are progressing, that you're feeling good. And what a sight it's going to be when you return. I would like it to be at the UBS Arena, the brand new arena. I know you've kind of turned your back on Long Island, but I don't think. I would. I
want Nassau Coliseum. Let's just go back.
You want old school? No, let's go to the new one for the new chapter.
Come on, it's in Queens. It's in Queens. It's in.
That's
Belmont,
not Queens.
Right?
That's Long Island.
Yeah, it's in Belmont.
Belmont, but isn't that Long Island?
I think technically Queens is on Long
don't be
Island,
that
but
guy.
it's not part of Nassau, Suffolk County.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I could go on. Like, it's messed up.
The Islanders
Nassau
play
Coliseum,
there.
where is it at? Like, all the Long Islander fans are from Long Island. The fact
Yeah,
that
okay.
it's better than the Barclays Center.
Yeah, better than Barclays or Kansas City. They were talking about moving to Kansas City. So, like,
Well, that's blasphemy.
Let's not get crazy here. I mean, it feels like
There's only one team I've ever rooted for in my life, and it's Long Island. It's the New York Islanders. And you're gonna take them out on Long Island? I'd be damaged.
right.
That'd be a problem.
Well, I'm glad that they didn't, even though you want to get technical. Thank you so much, Chris. Great analysis. Great to catch up, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
you're the man. Thank you so much. There he is, Chris Weidman, the former UFC middleweight champion, legend of the game. And I think he's one of the better analysts in this game. He's really developed into a great analyst.